Yeah,
That's the new one for chapter 92.
right. This is what you wanted to talk about, right?
And then get a training started and things up.
This is comments that we've received.
So that document that I first handed out, those are initial comments from when form-based code was first passed.
Okay.
Those comments came from county planning board.
Okay.
And the county planning department advised me that they did not receive any subsequent responses to those comments.
Okay.
And they thought it would be beneficial for this group to review those.
So we probably ought to open the meeting. It's all its order.
So 5 pages of comments and we made 0
responses.
These are from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Just send back and say everything's okay now.
Here's pages 0 through
Yeah,
79.
got a little crazy, so I got more copies in here.
So we'll at least call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm gonna pass over the Zoom ticket, as there are no people online joining us this morning. So let me ask the question before we get started. We have distributed this to many committees and people for feedback and response. Did we get any responses?
We did get a draft response from MRB. And I have not included that just because MRB had a lot of questions that I just was not able to get into this weekend.
Okay.
That's the remainder of that document.
It's scheduled for the boards and committees this month. In November.
All right.
Planning board this one.
MRB sent, it was about 6 pages worth of comments. Again, preliminary, the majority of them were more contextual than anything else as far as punctuation mistakes, because I'm keeping. Their biggest comment and what they wanted this group to review is related to the purpose, all right, of form-based code. Let me pull it up so I have it for bigger.
Purpose like as on page 2?
A little bit more than that. Okay. Basically, it was,
You're becoming, I'm impressed with your technical prowess.
That I can unfold that and have it stand up. Me too. Usually it'll fall over. Pretty good.
So one of their main notes was compliance thresholds on page 8. It appears that the only changes to the chart are to make certain sections of form-based codes inapplicable to expansions of building over 50% gross square footage. These revisions seem inconsistent with retaining the applicability of those sections and go against the original model of the form-based code plan. That was kind of one of their bigger ones that kind of led through a lot of this.
Well, I think that their comment is accurate, right?
Yeah.
But I think we as a committee have kind of recognized that form-based code wasn't maybe modeled the way we would like it to be modeled. I guess that's a fair statement, isn't it? Terry?
Yeah, it's not. That was done purposely.
Yeah.
Because we felt that it wasn't applicable in its current form.
Right.
That if there was absolutely nothing there, you could come in and drop that form-based code on that area. It may work, but given the situation that we're presented with, I mean, so I'd send back and say, yeah, that's right. Really?
I got you. I'm just relaying what they said. That's why, like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to go through this. Another comment, similar situation was the build to zone and setbacks. Again, you know, while the existing requirements may be too stringent for existing development, we could soften these as opposed to removing them entirely so that the design intent of these provisions remains to guide design decisions in the original one. There's a lot of that in here. Same thing with building height, some other stuff. Don't get me wrong, they really did like a lot of it, especially like removing a lot of it from planning board and town board, making that process easier. The off-street parking is simpler, is their quote. Planning materials, they appreciate it. It's just a lot of that, and then a lot of this does not go with the original intent and the original plan purpose. So,
Okay, so let's go through the red line and just make sure we're comfortable with that. First page I see is number 4.
I would say this, it's the exact same red line with the exception of the last 10 pages from the previous meeting.
Okay, okay.
Nothing else was changed.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right.
I'd still like to go through it quickly,
okay.
Okay, that's it.
just to double check. So this, I'm on page 4. Terry, you need a copy?
It's on the screen too.
I got a hard copy. If you want a hard copy.
It's in here, but.
I don't know. I know this is only form-based code though. I don't know how 92 got thrown in there.
You want a hard copy?
No, it's here, I just. Get close to page 8.
You're rolling it on.
There you go. So my question, I guess, is, does this reflect what we talked about as far as that one parcel on the west side of Summers Drive?
It does not, because that would have to be a total separate town board action,
Okay,
because you'd be rezoning the parcels.
okay,
The other thing is that I would strongly encourage the board
not to do what?
to rezone those parcels.
Okay,
As there are already development plans in place, contracts signed with the property.
okay.
So
So that's an issue we can deal with at a later time if we need to. So, okay, page 4 is good.
What needs to change related to Uptown Landing?
on that map, Uptown Landing needs to be changed. Not so much because of Uptown Landing, but because as we found out with Uptown Landing, some of those parcels aren't actually in form-based code when the rezoning
Some of the
happened.
Uptown Landing.
So we have to actually remove some parcels from this. It's just,
Okay,
I can't do that. So
all right.
that's why you don't have a new one. It's
You're
just
not-
ready for deletion.
We're technically able to do that, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so that's just marked as we
Okay.
need the change to
Yeah.
happen,
Okay,
but that I,
Let's do that.
outside of my capabilities.
there's a star on page 6, but I don't see any red lines, so
Correct.
probably applicable to page 7, right?
Yep.
Yes. Sure.
Change charts.
Do we need to review this at all?
You say MRB had a comment on that?
On the chart,
Yeah.
yeah, just that it's against the original purpose and intent of the original Uptown Landing plan.
And basically, this just says expansions greater than 50% need to go through. Or less than 50% need what?
Say that one more time, Ben. As far as the chart,
Do we need to go over this chart at all?
No, I think
I think we need.
Defeat
Yeah,
that up
defeat-
enough, right?
Anything
Yes.
change?
Yeah, the green chart replaces.
This one replaces.
Line two.
Green is replacement, and red is.
Yep. Those are MRB's comments again. They're not public and don't put a lot of weight behind them because I haven't gone through them yet. And Eric had a lot of questions, so I just was not able to.
Okay.
Side.
Takes us to page 10.
I think I want to mix up your files.
Any comments on 10? Okay,
What effect would that have on the rest of the town? That, I mean, that is a noise ordinance, right?
it is.
So we're only gonna have a noise ordinance in uptown?
Correct.
Why is that?
Probably
One of
just
the
because
original back then.
we haven't
Address the other
addressed
part.
it and the other parts of.
But I mean, when we're trying to bring things into town-wide, I mean, I think we need to look at that somewhere downstream. If we're gonna put it down,
I think the biggest reason for it is because it's a mixed use development area. I would also urge the boards and committees not to go to a noise ordinance. It creates a lot more problems than good.
Yeah, in Chris Jensen's time, he pointed out it's so difficult to enforce with decimal meters and atmospheric conditions,
I don't-
wind and all that crap.
I don't disagree, but we're putting one in uptown. We're creating that in uptown, so it's okay for uptown, but not for everybody else.
Yes.
The idea is that a more dense of a development possibly.
Remember, we have one in Uptown.
It's still gonna be difficult. to
We
enforce.
do,
We're not creating one, we're making it honestly more realistic to what we can do. And less about enforcement, more about if you're going to have it, say a restaurant, a bar. Have an outdoor menu, then you just need to get a permit, it needs to be monitored. Whereas previously it was like. There were decibel readings and everything else that just was not.
and because this doesn't really. Point out residential. Well, commercial, so. I suppose if you, in the future, we could consider. Any other restaurants or venues such as that we have, that you could apply the same thing, but. Don't we also, in short-term rental, don't we talk about noise and,
We do,
I mean, that's a sense of,
not so much like,
that to this extent.
it's subjective with short-term rentals. It just says that no loud noises, no
Yeah.
loud parties, stuff like that, because you're not allowed to have parties. Whereas the way this was written before had decibel readings and. You know, similarly with the vibration readings and stuff like that, that it's just unrealistic for us to.
Well, this is saying you have to have a permit in order to engage in
Correct.
that activity, which would tend to tamp down the,
Yeah. And the way I look at this is, let's look at our neighbors internally. There's a lot of issues with a certain establishment in the city on Lakeshore Boulevard or Lakeshore Drive. Where they didn't have a permit requirement, they didn't have any of that. Once the citizens start going out, reaching out to the city, it was, hey, this is a problem. So they worked on it mutually, you know, this is meant for us to work with someone if they wanna have those operations as opposed to being punitive to someone being loud in their house.
yeah, I mean, they're given a permit, and if they violate any conditions in the permit.
Yep.
Permit gets yanked.
Public house where they play their music, is that town property or city property?
Where they play the music.
Out back, that's
I know, the tent is split,
right, right.
so
So right behind that is a trailer park where it's residential. No complaints there, I guess, yeah, no. I just would rather see something uniform versus a spot doing stuff.
Okay, anything else? Okay, keep moving. 12.
that's all the leash
Deletion.
ordinance that continues on.
Yep,
Coming out.
And that's where it was the 50 feet beyond the property line and this instance, maybe.
14.
14 has to do with the administrative approval process. If you recall, the flow chart, which is now a part of this document, has been updated. Anything less than 4 units or 5,000 square feet falls underneath the administrative approval. This just outlines that process.
Good. Fifteen is a continuation of that.
Correct.
16 is out. 17 is out.
17 is new.
No,
And, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
sorry.
17 is what's replacing 16.
And this is what you wanted to just review.
Yeah.
Well, just in the interest of time, this is no different than what you had, we discussed the last. one.
Correct. Yep, yeah,
We
nothing
haven't
has been
changed it.
changed, with the exception of, if you remember the last meeting, we didn't have the last 10 pages, so I redlined.
Is the committee clear on how the flow chart flows?
That's the best work I can do on Microsoft Word, right?
It's a little confusing, but I think if you look at it long enough.
Well, if there's a way you want it done differently.
Yeah, when we have the final finished copy. it'll
Oh,
look
yeah,
a lot
I
better.
realize it's gotta go through all the reviews, committee reviews. But as far as
Cause I could do more.
this moment, I think it's good to go.
We comfortable with 17?
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. 18.
Again, this outlines the administrative approval process, such as what documents are required, for the zoning officer review.
So now, following up on Dave's comment regarding noise ordinance. Should this be applicable to all of our zoning areas?
We're only talking about form-based code.
Right now, we are right.
Yeah.
It's something,
Future topic.
a future topic, right? But I'm saying it's something that we probably ought to talk about.
If the committee and the board want staff to investigate it and propose something, we will.
And then how many, I guess, is it needed, do we have complaints?
What's that?
Do we have sufficient complaints
Oh, all the time.
to warrant?
All the time. Every day.
People don't like.
I'm doing 1,000 square feet in the light industrial zone. Why do I need site plan approval when I can build a 5,000 square foot house?
No, I'm talking about sound.
No,
Sound
we're
enforcement.
off the sound. This is the administrative
This is-
process.
Administrative process, right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
Okay, so it could be its future topic for the.
Yeah.
I think what we were trying to do here was to try to make the FBC more closer in line with what we do with our other applications, and I think that's the direction we're going. And certainly makes the FBC much more simple.
Yep. Okay, so that's page 18, right?
Mhm.
And 19 also?
Correct. 19 just outlines the PRC requirement of that administrative.
Page 20 is out. Page 21's out. 22's out. 23 is,
And
This is sketch plan, site plan for those applications that are more than 5,000 square feet. Or 4 or more units for planning board action. So basically, we took everything that was deleted, modified it to make it simpler. And then moved it out of the category from less than to more than.
page 24 is same thing. 25 is a continuation. 26 is a delete. 27 is a delete. 28 is a delete.
Just real quick, 26, 27, 28, 29, all of these have to deal with the town board action of the current process. That's why it's all being removed.
All the way through 31, correct?
Correct. That was a lot of the back and forth, which in my opinion was 5 pages of fluff. Just to say you gotta go here, there, here, there.
So it brings us to page 32.
32 only changed the variance process. Is to better align with the rest of our processes in other zoning districts. Where if you're submitting the application for variance on behalf of the property owner, you also need the property owner to sign off, authorize me to act on it. Which really they just had to sign the authorization.
I think that's appropriate.
And 32, at least on my copy, the text is separate.
Say that again, please. Tom?
And under E, on page 32,
Yes,
the sentences.
Yeah, don't,
separated. It's
yeah,
good
don't-
then.
yeah, I got a whole bunch of formatting issues, so
Okay.
why Eric was a little confused with the whole document. But
Okay, I presume you can correct
Yeah.
that easily.
best I could do in a short time.
Gotcha.
so
There are no other changes, because everything's definitions.
I'm leafing through this and I'm already up to page 46 without changes.
I could,
Okay,
page
3,
39
54.
on definitions, Mike.
Yep.
We seem to interchangeably use building frontage and building length.
Yep.
You're comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. One refers to science and the other refers to, I guess, how we measure the building.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reason for that is you could have a multi-use development where buildings don't have no frontage, but have. Signage purposes.
So I'm up to page 53.
Well,
And I just have a question on, those are not changes, right, at the bottom?
Correct, those are not.
Okay, so that brings us to page 54.
Deleting the build to zone because we've removed the minimum requirement.
Building and page 55.
Same with building frontage. Within the build to zone.
56, building height.
56 is just changing it from finished story to top of the roof structure. This is one that Eric and I are really forth on as far as formatting. With some of their architects and MRBs, how we can better word that.
Yep. How about just the top of the structure?
That's what we were going for, and then Eric was like, brought up a really good point. He's like, well, is a roof vent a part of the structure?
Is an antenna.
Is an antenna, is a chimney? Either, he was playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, that's a good point, so hey, let's talk to a few architects and see
Yep.
what.
yeah, because you could have an HVAC unit that's.
Way up.
Yeah,
It's really the structure in its own.
yeah, and then when I brought up, well, I'm looking at like the actual structural elements, he's like, well, what about parapets? Those aren't structural elements, and I'm like, oh, hey, you got me. I was like, I know, I look at parapets as not being structural, but Kristen May, Kyle May. So,
Is the top of the building.
Draw a couple of pictures and say, this is what
Okay,
pictures speak.
Good choice.
takes us to page 60.
60 has to do with the off-street parking regulations.
Yeah.
Again, we're stating that no larger than 2 rows of parking, maybe in front of the structure. All parking must conform with ADA standards. Existing parking may not be expanded. And then the setback requirements as far as 10 and 10.
All right,
Okay, we would wait before we go.
go ahead, Tom.
And I thought you addressed this last meeting. I thought we agreed to 2 rows of parking under 3II.
Yeah, no more than 2 lane and 2 rows of parking. So it should be, I still got the draft from last.
Where are you, Tom? I don't.
This. I under 1A. Last meeting, you suggested, I thought we approved 2 rows of parking and a driving lane.
That's my fault. So we want 2, I have it in the next one.
I believe that's what you wanted, John.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what I.
2 rows of parking, 1 drive lane,
no, I think we said
No.
2 drive lanes.
2 drive lanes.
Yeah, there's a
I thought you wanted
conflict there
parking lanes, but
between 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think I. Yeah.
The driving lane wasn't important, or at least my
So you
recollection.
want 4 lanes of parking.
If you had 2 drive lanes, you'd have 4 lanes of parking, correct?
Yeah.
And that's what I think what
That's
we all
what I'm-
agreed to.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry, I just,
that's okay.
there was a lot of
Appreciate
stuff
that.
in the last meeting. I had to rewatch that meeting.
Yeah.
About 10 times.
Are we all clear on that one?
Drive you nuts.
2, 2, 2, 2, and 3, and 4, and 2. And 4, okay. ID.
Right?
Mhm.
Again, you suggested.
Yeah.
So you okay with it?
I am
That's what we
2
did.
driving lanes and 4 parking lanes, right? That's what we kind of agreed to.
Thank you.
Okay,
I think that's-
61. And 63.
63, if you recall, that was having to deal with shared parking, cross access parking areas. Stated that you still need to maintain the side setback of 5 feet for each parcel boundary, but that can be utilized as your cross access connectivity with pedestrian use traffic.
Okay.
Basically encourage more sidewalks.
Takes us to 65. This is the plant species.
Again, removing the whole chart of the plant species and just going more towards what we have within our NRI. With native species and the use of those.
Or is it somewhere else?
Just as an aside, you ever run into people that want to plant invasive species?
All the time.
Really?
You'd be surprised what invasive species are.
Well, I know they're
Like a Norway maples,
We've
invasive
been through
species,
this.
are plant all the
But
time.
You see,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, the
Yeah.
big 3
You should
here,
have an
purple
idea.
striped kudzu and what's more, those are gonna take over.
Yeah,
3 is installation.
yeah, there's a lot.
It's all just.
Those ornamental grasses are all invasive species for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ground cover.
Right.
Bed.
right.
Fire bushes, which everybody likes.
Some are acceptable though.
Right.
People, you know,
It's all invasive in the eyes of the beholder.
Further, you just need an IV dot in front of plants, materials and size.
say that again.
You need an IV dot to be conforming with your installation is III. Your plant and
Where are you?
materials is,
where are you, Chuck?
it's that
Item
right
page
in front of
65.
plant materials and sizes. That's the title of the paragraphs to follow. Yep, you with me?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah, I got you.
It just needs a needs an IV. It needs an IV.
I don't do those anymore, sorry. Doesn't past life.
Oh, I know. Okay, so
Okay,
66.
take us to 69.
6, 7.
Yeah, this change just honestly is because of that graphic that
Yeah.
I changed.
Just wanted down lighting, right?
Yep.
As opposed to general lighting.
Yeah, the graphic shows lighting that.
Yep.
Yeah, says it's permitted, but it's not.
Okay. Takes us to 71.
So anyone has to deal with the outdoor amenity space, changing it from aggregate size per parcel to the ability for combined aggregate. For outdoor amenity space, think about town landing, instead of having each parcel with an outdoor amenity space, they could combine all of them into one large outdoor amenity space.
Okay. 72.
72, changing the railings from 30 to 36 inches to better align with liquor law in New York State.
74.
74, and a lot of the changes in the signs are just changing from 1 sign per building facade to 1 per tenant space, realigning it with what we have currently within our code to allow multiple businesses.
Takes us to 76.
76 just outlines how we would measure that, again, stating that it's not per the square footage of the building or the linear footage of the building frontage. We're going to the linear frontage of the storefront or tenant space. Again, realigning it with what we have in the CC.
Okay. Takes us to page 80.
Before we leave,
Yes, go ahead, Tom.
would frontage be more appropriate there or not? Instead of building, or I'm sorry, unit.
No, because frontage would have to deal with the whole building, unit deals with the individual space.
Within the building.
Mhm.
Okay.
Eighty, that's just a note about,
80 just has to deal with how sandwich boards are exempt.
Yeah.
But they need to be 18 inches from the property line. Instead of paved. So they're out of our way of space.
I'm at page 87.
So you're good there. No changes to 87.
Or 88,
For that.
or 89 does have a couple of changes.
Yep.
Was that change to match the other one?
It would, yep.
So there is a change.
There is, but it's just a map. We've also been advised by county and MRB just to remove the maps. From the sub areas and just have one map at the beginning of the page. To make it straight.
So that's a rule.
Yeah, we'll be removing that map.
Page 89,
89, removing the maximum
Yep.
building setbacks. And just leaving it 10 foot.
minimum. And page 90,
90, again, this is what I had to go through. Watch, like I said, the meeting recording about 10 times. We changed the allowable building materials to excluded building materials, including metal cladding or siding. Greater than 75% of the building exterior on the primary and side street frontages. Wood clapboard shingles to better align with the New York State Fire Code, and vinyl siding. And remember, this is the 332 corridor sub area.
I can't read the. Are we removing this? What is
We
it? What is
are-
that red line right there, that
Yep.
at the very top of the box that,
Yep, so that says allowable building materials, and we're removing that and replacing it with excluded building materials. So instead of stating what you can do, we're now stating what you can't.
so this really should be in green, right?
It should be, when I was going through and formatting it, I was actually able to redline this portion of your traditional red line. So, and I was up against time crunch.
So what are we saying, Harry? It is included or excluded?
Well, it's everything at the end that doesn't have a line through is what we're gonna leave in, correct? Metal cladding, so they're,
These stay in,
right,
like where it's crossed out
cementatious
here.
siding.
So metal cladding and siding less than 75% is allowed? Or disallowed?
Allowed.
Allowed.
Okay,
So why don't you want cementatious siding?
No, we can allow it. Remember, we're changing the table from what is allowed to what's excluded. Cementitious
Oh, I
siding
see.
is removed. It's being
Yeah.
replaced with wood clapboard shingles.
is allowed now.
What is?
Wood clapboard or
Wood clapboard or
shingles,
shingles is not allowed.
not allowed.
Correct. So remember, just think of, these are the three building materials that are not allowed. Metal cladding or siding. Greater than 75% any building exterior.
That says less than 75%.
I'll change that, my apologies.
That's supposed to say greater than?
Greater than,
Greater than.
you did say greater than, even though it's at less than.
Yes, right.
So essentially eliminating that, wood clapboard or shingles and vinyl, anything else is fair game.
Anything else is fair?
On the front of the building.
Well, where it says 75%. Would be the sides and the rear. I mean, it's not necessarily in terms of mathematical. The front is 25%.
Yeah.
The building's really deep and narrow. You know,
So the way that I take it from the last
Three
meeting
sides.
is that we wanted to allow metal cladding and siding around the sides of the building that were not viewable from road front.
right,
But on those that were, we still wanted to have some architectural features, i.e. 25% of the building has to be something that's not metal cladding.
Right.
Then the clapboard and shingles, the same situation,
No, wood clapboard and shingles is
completely out.
Totally out, right?
Correct. Same with vinyl siding.
Okay,
It's what I got from the last meeting, having to deal with this 332 area.
If the building's 100 feet deep.
Yeah.
50 feet wide.
Yeah.
And 50 feet in front isn't 25%.
No, because we're only on the primary and side street frontages.
Yeah,
Okay, so I don't care what you do on the rest of the building, as
Right.
far as metal cladding and siding, that 75% has to only deal with those frontages. Does that make sense?
Essentially what you could see.
Correct.
if the surface area. 50 square feet in front, 50 in back, 100 on each side.
Yeah.
It's 300 square feet.
Yeah.
So 75% of that,
No, 75% of that 50.
The
square feet,
100 and the 50 that you can see.
what you can see. On each side.
that's basic. Yeah, I just want to make sure we're clear on this.
Me
I'll
too.
clear it up, it's.
We're
it's
excluding,
one.
we're excluding metal cladding or metal siding on the primary sides of the building
And side street.
and side street frontages. Anything that you could see from the street.
Correct.
But you could have metal cladding on it as long as it's less than 75%. Right, so you still have metal cladding, you just can't exceed a threshold
On the front and
on
the
the
side
front and the
street.
side, you see.
I agree with the philosophical intent here, but I just wonder about the numbers. Outside building.
Well, so I take this
I'm
example.
concerned about this, the 75% discussion. So we're saying now that you can have metal siding or metal cladding on the street sides as long as it's less than 75%?
Correct.
The rest of it's glass.
I thought that we were,
So the conversation that again, I rewatched about 10 times. Was having to deal with, you guys still wanted some sort of stone feature on the front edges, something that was not straight metal pole barn. all the way
Yes.
up.
Agreed.
So that's how I got this.
How would you change that, John? It sounds like you're pushing back on the metal.
I don't know if I understand it real well, Dave. That's not that I'm pushing back. I just don't know if I understand it.
Well, I think the intent is to have some kind of architectural features on whatever you can see.
Yes,
I'm not
Agreed.
sure this addresses that per se. I mean, you could, start.
I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah,
the face of the building, what you look at. With the entry to the building, that's the area that I'd be concerned
we
with.
want to dial that up.
But
We make that look different than
Yeah,
just
no-
straight metal.
No metal cladding.
But you could take metal cladding that's stamped. And at 10 feet away, you
Yep.
couldn't tell that it wasn't.
Totally
wooden
agree.
Shingles.
Or you could take pole barn metal and put it on there, same metal, it's metal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, you hope that they do the nice stuff, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure that.
the devil's in the
Well, this is our
details.
chance to make sure they do this.
Right, I'm with you, I'm with you. But how do
How do
you,
you word
how do you
that?
differentiate that? Like no 5 rib metal on the building or on the foreseeable,
You can get
whatever?
as specific as you want, I just need to know.
Well, that's the problem.
This is a tough.
That's that's why I had to rewatch it a million times, because I'm like, how do I write
We're
this?
getting into aesthetics, right?
Or is there any way to let the planning board have input into that?
No, just remember you're not gonna have.
That's right.
And even if you do, you never want it to be subjective.
Right.
You can't use the term
Right,
attractive.
quantified and spelled out very
We
clearly.
don't legislate aesthetics, right?
All right, more colors, remember?
And I'm not
You're
sure,
on the
I don't want to make it worse, but I'm not sure 75% is the right number.
The only reason why I did 75% is because when I was taking a look at average building heights, you're about 15 feet for a single story building. Single floor, right? 4 feet got thrown around a lot as far as a stone fascia, so. Comes out to about 75%.
Meaning that the bottom 4 feet would be stone and the
Correct.
top 12 feet would be metal siding.
Correct.
Or you could do some kind of fancy metal on the bottom and the other metal on the top, right?
Yeah, but how do you rate that?
I agree, I'm not arguing, with you. I'm just saying that there's still opening up a lot of stuff here.
This doesn't say that.
Right, right. I mean. Who's gonna enforce this?
Yeah.
As it's written right now.
The zoning officer who approves the project.
So is there any way that we as the town board can give directions to the zoning officer? So,
We can't deal in the subjective.
No.
We gotta deal in the black and white.
You could leave it confusing and if you don't like what you see, it's no, it's not what it says. It's subjective, then I realize, but
Yeah.
it's objectively subjective.
Right. So these are the things I'm having a hard time because I can't read what's in the red, but this is excluding
Correct.
metal cladding or siding
greater than 75%.
greater than 75% of the building. Maybe we just leave it like that?
That I didn't know how to write it, to be really honest with you. This just seemed the simplest.
I just hope we're not gonna regret this, that's my only concern.
Well,
Well,
if there's,
But your point
if there's a
was we-
dilemma. Let 4 people on the zoning board decide.
I mean, that's,
I wouldn't argue with that.
well,
I wouldn't
I mean,
argue with that. I would like to have somebody else's
Yeah,
eyes.
Tom. I think that the zoning officer, the code enforcement officer, makes the determination on whether it's greater than or less than 75%.
but if they,
And if the applicant disagrees, there's
Zoning.
an evidence.
Then it would go to the zoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's-
like,
I think it works. I just,
yeah, this was the simplest, like,
Yeah.
we deal with a lot of this on the
We-
building code
tried
side,
to
like
make it
percentages.
Confusion free.
This seemed
This
easy.
is-
yeah.
That we can go through and at least tangibly say, okay, your frontage is 200 square feet, right? Well, you have 58% of that 200 square feet is metal siding, can't do that, you gotta drop it below 50 square feet.
Say this again now.
Sorry. You got 200 square feet frontage, right? Say the projector screen is that front of that building.
Yes,
If they came to us and they said 158 square feet of that is metal siding,
can't do it.
can't do it, has to be less than 150 square feet. Because that's the 75%. That's something tangible that staff can look at with an architect and say, no, that doesn't count.
Yeah, come back to us with something else.
So now to Tom's point, glass obviously and all of that is gonna significantly reduce that. So it may not be, like, say you go back to the 16-foot for ease of math height. You have the 75% transparency, they may only need a 1 foot stone veneer across the front, but hey, it's still there, it's not 100%.
So
leave it alone.
I'd say leave it alone and just correct that greater than, right?
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Now, I don't mean to throw confusion at this, but why do we not want wood clapboard or siding?
Fire code,
Okay,
because if you're gonna have this buildings this close together, it's not realistic.
okay.
And I'm part a little slow.
Cause I know a lot of buildings, they'll put, they'll have like an overhang or a, I don't know how to describe it, but like a soffit kind of.
Yeah.
And they'll put wood shingles on that to
Yeah,
make it
But
kind of
now
rustic
you
looking.
can put metal shingles, I mean, you could, but that would be part of your 75%.
Correct.
Everything that's made of wood now is made of metal. It's
Yeah,
crazy, you
yeah.
know, so, and.
Or you get a hardy board, which is a
Right,
cementitious
right,
product.
exactly.
Um,
So I think anything that would dress it up, the materials are available that would fit what we have here, in my opinion.
and vinyl,
I go,
Vinyl. Same thing.
Well, no, so
Push
what I got
going.
from the conversation, because remember, this is a 332 corridor.
Yeah.
The last conversation was, yeah, we're okay with vinyl outside of that, in the sub area, but not in the 332.
so, you know. Just with Dave's description there, right, of. Products that are available. What if they have a vinyl siding that doesn't look like a vinyl siding that we're all thinking of, right? I mean, they make vinyl shingles now and they make different types of vinyl boards now.
It's combustible.
that's
Yeah,
what I
but
would say,
you're-
if you're trying
That's
to
the same
get fire
argument
down,
would. Yeah. The vinyl's gonna burn.
Add up
Right.
to architectural review board.
I just, again, I was
So we
going
do.
off the meeting notes from the last meeting.
But like even
I,
what we used to think of as wood trim, like a fascia board or things of that nature. We make that of vinyl now. We don't even make it of wood anymore because it's maintenance free. You put it up in a color and it's done. So I just question, you know, why we exclude vinyl.
so you, actually, John, just bring it back to, if you trim out windows of the PVC, that's not allowed, right? Pardon me?
Be realistic on
But
stage.
now we have to talk black,
Say
but
no.
you have to talk black and white, I mean, one thing's black and white, the other is, that's fine.
Yeah, but you know.
I'm with you, I'm not disagreeing, but I didn't think of that, so you just said that, I mean, that's, everyone trims with that vinyl.
Trimming out
Everybody
the
does.
window is one thing, but having a whole side of the building.
Yeah.
Vinyl. I
But if
think
you're
no.
looking at prohibited materials, vinyl's in there.
Right.
Yeah.
We're prohibited, so maybe we shouldn't put that in there,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your commercial windows are.
They say vinyl siding.
yeah, they're metal trim, yeah.
So I don't know how often you'd run into that in this sub corridor since it's.
We'll just change the heading to excluded siding materials. Say vinyl not allowed as siding, you know,
Mhm.
so that leaves open trimming out a window or.
Easy solution.
Okay, vinyl siding then. Does that make sense, Mike?
So I'll change it to excluded siding materials.
Vinyl siding. Right?
Mhm.
Okay. We good with that one?
I'm good. Well, it looks
Okay.
like not what it's made of.
What'd you say, Chuck?
I said, my concern is what it looks like, not what it's made of.
Yes.
Except from a fire standpoint, I agree
Well,
with you
yeah.
guys on that stuff. yeah.
Apply the fire code or something.
Okay, page 91.
Anyone just has to do with the signs. Yeah,
Okay.
filling those requirements. No changes except for removing the map.
95 is the next page. Just remove the maximums and put
Yeah.
minimums, right?
And then we changed everything to what was approved for Uptown Landing, so 65 or 60-foot minimum lot width instead of 100-foot minimum lot
Yep.
width. Instead of 5 feet, going up to 25 feet minimum with no setback, and a 5 for the interior.
This wouldn't affect the incentive zoning that we've already granted Uptown Landing, would it?
No, more it matches up with it, doesn't it?
But we've given them incentive zoning because it didn't match up. If this matches up, would they
Yeah.
have to,
Well, yeah, before it was 100 foot.
Right,
This
and they needed
drops it to
60,
so
right.
that what we gave them,
right?
so.
I'm agreeing with this, but I'm saying this wouldn't have any effect on incentive zoning that's already granted.
No,
Makes it
because that was
100.
granted, that's done.
My question is the building setbacks. Being 25 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet. Are we comfortable with that? Was there a reason why we did 20 and 25 as opposed to leaving it at 5?
Probably. Can't remember.
We can leave it at 5, again, I just went off of what was approved in the form-based code and what they asked for.
I think we should leave it at 5, my own personal opinion, but what's the rest of the committee think?
Leaving it at 5 gives more
Flexibility.
flexibility.
This is in the sub area.
Yeah.
We're off the 332 corridor.
Correct.
I would rather have flexibility. My opinion,
So you're saying five?
fine.
Anybody else? Anybody opposed to five?
Or do you put a maximum to, or? just-
And I'd leave the
just-
maximum alone.
There's no.
You mean leave it? Well, there was.
Leave max out.
Leave max out.
Maxed out the max.
So drop everything down to 5 minimum, so you have to be 5 feet back, there's no requirement on how far back you can go,
Correct.
Right.
as long as you're 5 feet from the rear.
Everybody good with that? Okay, moving on.
Next change is
97.
97, we're changing the transparency again, aligning it with what was approved by the town board and some zoning package for form use or for uptown landing. Changing the ground story and upper story transparencies for commercial mixed use buildings from 75 to 30 for ground story, 60 to 55 for the upper story. For
I like it.
residential sole use, 10% for the ground story, 20% for the upper story.
This creates a lot of flexibility now.
We also are removing the requirement for bike parking. We're now clarifying it, bike parking required by code shall be provided for multifamily residential, mixed use and commercial occupancies. It shall not be required for townhome, 2-family residential and single-family residential structures. Because if you actually read through the current form-based code, if you're building a house, you must put bike parking in front.
Okay.
A little bit of an issue there. The only other thing is the allowable building materials, we removed clapboards, wood clapboard and shingles to again align with the other district.
Is that because of fire code
Yeah.
again?
And then vinyl siding, we now changed to vinyl siding cannot account for more than 40% of the building facade with the exception of single family, 2-family and townhome residential occupancies. The remaining facade must be comprised of the natural allowable materials.
So my only question is that one place is 40 and this place is 70 and another place is 75. Should we make that be consistent with that?
That was how it was before.
But that it was consistent?
No, it was inconsistent. You weren't allowed vinyl siding in the 332 sub area. And in this mixed use sub area, you were allowed vinyl siding.
This makes it a little bit easier for residential.
Okay, you sold me. Page 98.
98 again is dealing with signage. That's all. And that was it.
And we're done? Good.
So a little bit on the process side of things, as opposed to sending this out with the final review, staff is operating with the board and committee's acknowledgement. We've sent this whole document out to county, Chris Nadler, town council, as well as MRB. Again, I still have to go through with MRB with a lot of questions before they issue their final comment letter. County has opted to, instead of doing a staff internal review, they're going to send it directly to county planning board for a full technical review. County is being nice and not charging us for that or taking it away from our allotted time for the year. Because they want to encourage us to do this more. So that will be going to county planning board this month. And then Chris is reviewing it on his side.
So that all being said, do those potential modifications need to come back to this
Yes.
committee?
Yeah, so we foresee those comments coming back for the December meeting for this committee. Okay. We will then go through those again. We will get a true clean finished copy in January to be set for a public hearing in February is our internal timeline that we've been working out. Just because knowing board schedule, town board schedule, January is a wash. We all know that. So that was kind of out there, and this makes it so that we'll have all those comments back. We will take those as a committee, go through them, create a finished polished product that looks like we currently have it. Then set the public hearing in January, give that out. Ideally, we would get no comments back. Again, when we send it out for the true referral as part of the adoption process. But if we do, those can be reviewed.
Okay,
All right.
It'll be just about a year.
Yeah. And then we'll think again.
So do
Hopefully
we pay
it's-
any attention to the July 21 comments from the Ontario County Planning Board?
So Ontario County advised me, their planning staff, that they don't want us to go through and rewrite everything, but just acknowledge that a lot of these same comments will be coming back to the board and the committees, so that it may be worthwhile for the group to review them for substance prior to.
Were these comments, do you know, Mike, from county planning board, individual people, that this is a collective
Yes.
review, or was it
It was from,
staff?
it was from staff and the board.
Both?
So when county does their reviews, staff has their comments. Soil and water, DPW, all of those. And then it goes before the county planning board puts theirs in, they compile them. This is the compiled list that was issued for the initial adoption. There's a lot of good things in there. Again, I haven't had a chance to review them. But
Well, hopefully a lot of these have been addressed in this review.
yeah,
okay,
Which committees are getting it? I know the planning board.
this is going to county planning,
Yep.
town council. Nadler. And MRB,
I know it's coming from
When we set it out.
ECB, planner.
UCB.
A, C, and Z.
Sorry, I forgot about those ones.
Sorry.
Thank you.
They're all together this month.
Yeah,
There
there was just way too much in this to try and just rush it.
okay, so now these are MRB's comments,
Draft.
which we could
If this is.
review at our leisure and be ready to talk about them at our next meeting, along with other comments that we're gonna get from others, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So we don't need to go over this today.
No.
They have them back by then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
30 days.
County is pretty quick. It's usually the week after. County planning board comments.
By that Friday, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll take 2 meetings of planning board to see that. But luckily we have 3 meetings in November. Alright. They're done.
okay. Now, Mike, you wanna walk us through what you've given us here?
Yeah, so what you have before you is a draft of chapter 92. For our code, line. We can go through it step by
This
step.
here?
Yes,
And what is this here?
that's the comments from 2021 from the county planning board in relation to form-based code that we're discussing.
There's the original comment back,
From who?
county planning board.
That the county stated they had no responses given to them. And so they would like those to be given to the committee to be aware of what the original issues.
Well, what are the rules in regard to that? In that we apparently ignored them,
No rules on it.
so there's no consequence.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting. It doesn't invalidate.
Nope.
It just has given the option or the right to review.
Isn't there
You don't have to
though
take their comments.
some class of comments back from them that
Those are representative.
if you don't follow that lead, you have to,
Dave, what's his
town
name?
board has to vote
Yeah,
with
it's-
supermajority.
So that's if they vote for a denial,
Yeah,
but they didn't.
No,
Normally on
but-
these, they don't vote as far as like approving it or denying it, they just say.
no, we've experienced that before, where they said, we'll do it, we had to.
Everything in the lake, or do not.
So, relative to this. We should go through this, just like we did the form-based code, and just
We can if you want, with the understanding that 90% of this is state mandated.
Okay,
Not quite yet, but will be.
okay,
So just a little background on this, as you guys know, New York State Code is changing. That is now effective December 31st, 2025. It will be underneath the 2025 Uniform and Conservation Code for the state of New York. All of the town's code staff and building safety inspector staff went to the state mandated 16-hour training last week. We were the second run of that training in the whole state. Very just a little plug, the Yates Ontario building officials, which we're all part of, sponsored that training. There was a lot of issues that we started noticing. I'll be honest, I organized that training as part of the education committee. And at one point, we had to stand up and tell everyone to stop talking when we were discussing the fossil fuel ban, because it turned into, we had tomatoes, there would have been, yeah, they would have been getting thrown, we'll just say it that way. We also found a lot of issues in the code that the town of Canandaigua has about 20 comments out to New York State technical support on how do we enforce some of these aspects of this code. This document updates our local code so that now, effective December 31st, town staff can enforce the requirements in 2025. All right, whereas right now our code clearly signifies that we enforce the 20. So it's just aligning ourselves with those new rules.
so,
This is going to change again.
It shouldn't. So the state will be adopting a new what's called Part 1203, the New York State law. We may see some minor changes, but nothing substantial like we haven't. I went through the code Friday. I went through it Friday for about 6 hours, got 99% of it, but the state may change something. The biggest change is that we were notified by Department of State that the state will not be coming out with a model local law like we recently adopted, even though we're about 3 years past due for that. State legal departments are advising and stating that they will not be releasing a model local law. That may change, but that's why we are coming out with this on our own. This has been sent to Nadler. He has not reviewed it, but he also understands that a lot of this is code based. So we can go through kind of the highlights if that works for you.
okay,
A lot of it in the first portion is definition changes to again align with the code. Combustible fuels are now defined, all that stuff, combustible dust, fibers. Biggest change in the definitions is we now have special amusement area. For reference, our current code, we have 10 operating permits required. This new code from the state, we are going up to 54 operating permits being required for different operations, storage, handling, use, maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, we're gonna be busy. Starting at 92-3. Sorry, I didn't put the page numbers on this. It's after the definitions for code enforcement officer inspectors. We acknowledge that our current chapter 92 does not state that we are also enforcing our municipal code. It was a little bit of a lapse on my part, so we're adding that in here now. So all CEOs, building inspectors also will be responsible for enforcing the town of Canandaigua municipal. Again, same changes on the next page. Under 92-4 building permits, we are removing all mention to townhouses. Townhomes definition is changing. Townhome used to be a construction style design. It is now a true defined term for basically 3 units and above residential. So I'll just make it easier for staff to align with the new code. We also changed up what is exempt from building permits to again better align with what staff has been noticing. We still are not requiring building permits for partitions and movable cases less than 5 feet 9 inches. But we added the stipulation that provided, excuse me, provided that those do not block required exits. We got a little pushback on that. From an attorney. We also are now listing that all equipment and appliances that are portable must be listed as such with the underwriter's laboratory. And we define replacement now as replacement in kind and in place. Again, we got pushback from contractors and attorneys stating that if you're replacing a furnace, but you're moving it 5 feet, well, that still is a replacement. It's not. There's building permit requirements for that within the state code. It was just the way that the model was written. There was some interpretation, so we removed that. Also, we removed that, again, interpretation based. If you're altering any sprinkler system, you always need a permit, but we have had some pushback where people, well, we're just replacing sprinkler heads, still need a permit. All right. We changed up construction documents, just what's needed to align with the new code, as well as adding a stipulation in there that any other information as required by the code enforcement officer. Again, wasn't in there, we're getting pushback from designers, so now it's in there that if the CEO says he needs it, you don't have any ifs or buts. Now on to the fun part. Excuse me. Building permits to be displayed, that's a given.
Like what page?
Where are you?
So I'm on 92-4.
Okay.
And we're starting top of the page is F. We're on there. Okay. Stating in here that permits are non-transferable when they are issued. Any change in the activity, the size, the extent, or the type of the operational location or ownership shall require a new permit. Again, falls back on workers' comp, disability requirements, permit documentation, that we're getting pushback on. Basically, they're altering the permit, items like that. For permit extensions, we also went through and put a note stating that they need to provide satisfactory justification for failure to complete the work within the specified time frame of the life of the permit. Again, we've been doing that. We're now just codifying it within the code. We also did put a note in here. It's been a condition of all of our permit issuance, but now we're also stating that similar to when someone makes an application for planning board or zoning board. When you make the application for the permit, you are also authorizing the code enforcement officer to enter and inspect the property prior to permit issuance. Again, we just gotten pushback on that, so now we're codifying it. And we also put a note in there, something we've been doing, which I was advised by the state was not 100% kosher. Consolidating of permits, been doing it for years, where you have a job that touches 4 different aspects. Instead of getting 4 permits, we issue 1. It keeps the paperwork down to a minimum. We're again just codifying that with it here. Still keeping the same work hours. I know that was a request to the board last year. Keeping those. On to the next page, 92-5. Just punctuation and then town of Canada municipal code. Next page is inspections. Again, just stating out exactly what's required underneath the new code for inspections. For the betterment of the committee and the board, our inspections are growing substantially. Right now, we do about 20 building inspections for a new home construction. That'll be going up to roughly 35.
Per house.
Per house. Per house.
Ridiculous.
Just camp out there.
What was that?
Just camp out there.
Yeah, it's getting to that point. So you will also, we have a draft fee schedule that'll be going to the finance committee for the new year. To again, better align with the requirements of the new codes. So
What's the driver there? Might go from 20 to 35 or whatever.
a lot of it is the new requirements with the energy code. Brutal honesty with the board, we will now be requiring mechanical, plumbing, MEP drawings, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing drawings with all single family home construction. To again, make sure we know what's going in there, as opposed to currently it's all design build. As John can attest to, we don't get plumbing drawings It's just the plans say built to code. But because of the new energy code requirements, the new plumbing code, we now will need those on the new residential portion. New plumbing portion of the residential code will require actual drawings that we can.
So I mean, that's gonna demand more of your time.
Yeah.
Any
It's also gonna demand more from the person building the house. You're gonna have
And
to-
an added expense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
significant.
this governor talks about
Significant.
affordability. We don't need to get into, you
Yeah.
don't need to say, don't,
Yeah.
stop talking. But I mean, it's really driving.
It is. It is.
You think it's, I mean, when you're doing inspection, you must see plumbing, you see electrical.
Yeah.
But
We inspect it now.
to make sure that it's kosher, that it's installed properly, but this is just an added burden, because you're looking at that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Now as you're comparing it to what the plan said, that's the only real difference.
Now, there are benefits to it, right? So like, part of the energy code is that if you're using electric resistance heating, no more than 2 kilowatt hours of electric heating, resistance heating can be utilized in the house, unless a separate form of heating is utilized for the largest space within the home. Now, I'm getting a lot of dead looks. We all get the same dead looks. Electric resistance heating, if you guys don't know, is baseboards, right? 2 kilowatt hours results in 8 feet of electric baseboard heating, roughly. The reason why we're not gonna need plans is because if you go through, you wire all that, I walk in the door and say, hey, that's bad, you gotta rip all that out. As opposed to now, it'll all be on a plan, you can review it, say, yes, this is all good. And then go ahead and,
Providing whoever installed it did it according to the plan.
yeah,
If they make any alterations, then it rip it out, do it this way.
What's the alternative for the owner or the contractor
alternative to what?
to the size of the base electric
Heat
resistance
pumps.
baseboard?
Heat pumps.
So you're forcing them
geothermal,
to a heat pump or geothermal?
You know, outdoor wood boilers, I mean, there's millions out there, it's
Okay,
just,
so
But they emit smoke, CO2.
they do.
Yes.
But that's under DEC regulations, not mine. Be really honest with you guys, we've been getting a lot of comments and requests on if outdoor wood boilers can be used in the town of Canandaigua, because there are municipalities that outlaw them entirely. We have nothing on the books. In my opinion, we shouldn't, especially because DEC has so much regulation on it. But with the fossil fuel ban, it's a real possibility. There will be some oil. So,
It'd come up years ago, quite a while ago, the question, and we said we didn't want to touch it.
yeah.
They would still need a permit to put in an outdoor boiler.
Yeah, they would need a permit, excuse me, but as far as like the emissions and stuff, we don't look at any of
Right,
that.
right.
The efficiency, that's all done DEC
Right.
wise. They don't need a permit from DEC, but if someone files a complaint,
They'll come and check it.
then it goes on DEC.
Yeah, we had that problem on.
in
Cheshire,
isn't the
outside
des-
Cheshire.
the
Was it right?
design
It was right in
of
Cheshire.
outdoor boilers, don't they
35
have
foot tall.
dual combustion or
Yeah.
something where they're actually pretty,
Yeah, nowadays they're very efficient.
yeah.
I've been looking at one for a home build I'm investigating.
Okay.
Because they work well. Then we brought up the little side funny story. State was like, yeah, you can still do wood outdoor boilers, and we said, yeah, but the problem is it gets cold here. What do a lot of people with wood outdoor boilers do when it gets below 0? They put in anthracite coal because it has a longer burn time. Or like, that's a fossil fuel, so technically that's illegal underneath your new law. I'm like, yeah, so you should write them a violation. I'm like, I'm not going out to your wood boiler and checking this, no.
Opening the door.
Yeah, right, like,
Just sniff for sulfur. you know?
that's an unrealistic law, but nevertheless.
This whole process changes how home construction is done here in upstate New York.
All of New York State.
I don't know what, I can't speak to downstate, how they do it, but
That wood lot.
it's all done, design, build here in upstate New York. I mean, rarely does somebody pay to have the electrical and the plumbing and the heating designed as part of the drawing.
And going from 20 inspections to 35, what kind of time does that put on you guys? Right, I mean, how, are we gonna have to hire somebody else?
It's doubling the amount of inspections.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
let's put it this way, for a standard framing inspection, right? Nothing crazy, I'm looking at framing. Takes us about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that's for a standard 2,500 square foot single family home. It's not,
Nothing complicated.
that's not a 10,000 square foot home. That's when you're getting into 2 to 3 hours because it's that intensive.
Hmm.
Again, just to go into some stuff, your light switches, you now have to have manual dimmers or time switches on all your habitable rooms. If it's uninhabitable room, then you're required to have times or motion sensor or time switch. So the days of manual flip on, flip off, you can still have them, but they have to be tied into a.
So $3 to $15 a switch.
But you know that those actually draw more power than an on and off switch, because they gotta be constantly on.
And by
There's lighting requirements for exterior lighting, it's a lot. Duct blasting, it's not required more often. It's a lot. So, and again, we've skimmed the surface, we sat through those 12 hours of state training, the other 4 was other new stuff. And we all told the state, we're like, we hope you know that 12 hours, we barely went through anything. We need 80 hours just to know what's in here. And their response was, well, you got the books, so read books. So a lot of it's reading. All right. We'll go to 92-7, which is C of O's and C of C's. We're just outlining that elevation certificates are required now in floodplains, again. Push back.
That's provided by a civil engineer.
Elevation certificates? No, those can be provided by, they have got to be provided by a surveyor.
Surveyor,
Yeah,
a licensed surveyor.
right. Yeah, they can't be provided by an engineer.
Yep.
To deal with geolocations. We're requiring that staff, we put the owner of the parcel on the C of O. Again, we've been doing this, as well as sprinkler information. That way it's memorialized for the building.
That's mandatory now. Or it will be.
It will be, we've been doing it. I'm just putting it in there for staff's sake. Again, this chapter is our Bible, you know, this is what we have to follow. So I haven't, but say I go by the wayside tomorrow, then the next person has to follow this as well, so nothing should change. 92-8 is our biggest change, that is not state mandated. 92-8 previously just had to deal with notification regarding fires or explosions, and it read the following. The chief of any fire department providing firefighting services for a property within the town shall promptly notify the code enforcement officer of any fire or explosion involving structural damage, a fuel burning appliance, chimney or gas vent. We've now changed this to the chief of any fire department providing firefighting services for a property within the town of Canandaigua shall promptly notify and request the presence of the code enforcement officer at the scene of any unsafe building, structure, equipment, or condition posing imminent danger to life, health, or property. This includes, but is not limited to, fire or explosion within or involving a building, any incident involving possible structural damage to a building, any other condition that may be deemed immediately dangerous to life or health for occupants and or the general public. Additionally, the fire chief shall promptly notify the code enforcement officer of any complications, damage, or misuse involving systems with fuel burning appliances, chimneys, gas vents, or electrical systems. So this is just memorializing, again, something that we're already doing with the fire departments that serve the town, stating that instead of notifying us tomorrow that there was a structure fire today, they have to call and request us to the scene. Little known fact, we do not have access to properties once the fire department leaves the scene or sheriff's office. So this is just memorializing it to those chiefs that know you need to request us for those instances that can be deemed ideal.
So if the fire department thinks somebody is using a gas burning stove, they have to let you know that?
Well, no.
That's what this says.
misuse. Right?
Complications, damage, or misuse.
Oh, misuse, yes, yes,
So if you're using your gas burning stove to heat your house, that's misuse.
yes,
So they gotta let us know
if they're aware.
if there were. Basically, this stems from, we've had instances where, and we've done training with the fire departments to better it. But for example, we had a structure that was fuel oil heated. They converted it all to propane, no permits were pulled. Fire department notified me about 36 hours later. And at that point, there's nothing I can do because I don't have access, so I can't even send a notice of violation because I didn't inspect it. Whereas if they called to notify me, I'd have been like, you stay there because I'm on my way down there because, you know, they had 4 gas leaks in the basement level. So that's a danger to health and safety. Next page. This is all the red. Not gonna go through each of these, I'll hit the high points. This has to deal with all the required operating permits for the town of Canada. Some of these I agree with, a lot of these I don't, but New York State says I have to, so by law, I have to enforce this. That includes operation of a special amusement area, carnival or fair, again. Never needed an operating permit really before unless it was over 1,000 people, now you need one regardless of size. Operation of a grain elevator is new. That can produce combustible dusts, you know, so not your standard ag, those really aren't good at producing at your industrial level. Storage of your combustible fibers, storage, handling of compressed gases, in excess of amounts that are listed within the fire code. Placement of retail fixtures, displays within a mall, even though we don't have one, we still have to put it in there. Open flames. Any hot work operations outside of a 1 or 2 family dwelling. The use of hazardous cleaning solvents within a dry cleaning establishment. The operation, charging, storage, or deployment of stationary or mobile energy storage systems. Operation of an exhibit or trade show. Pipelines.
Did they give you a list of all these things and you had to include this in our code?
Nope,
Where'd you get all this stuff from?
New York State Fire Code. I had to read through it all.
So if
About
we,
2,000 pages.
so if we as the town,
No, they gave me a list, but not a list.
so if we as the town have a movie night and we have 2 bounce houses over there, you need to get a permit for that. The town does. That's crazy. So we're in violation. I mean, not we were,
Yeah,
not yet, but we,
we will be if we
Right.
don't do it. Which is why staff has been putting in certain items with John's help into our parks and rec regulations. That's why codes was at a trunk or treat. And yes, we got some stormwater stuff out of it. We ended up candy, but we were there because there was talk of 1,000 to 2,000 people. If you're over 1,000 people, you need a fire watch, and then you need another fire watch for every 500 over that. So that probably had all 4 staff members there. Similar with Pride Festival that was held in the town, we were there. We've been doing a lot of this stuff slowly to get into it, but we didn't know that it was going to be to this extent. All gas stations will be required to have an operating permit now. If those gas stations are gonna be out of operation for 90 days or more, they're required to get a second operating permit. I can keep going if you guys want.
I'm looking for corn maze. Corn maze?
Yes,
It is the most
it's in there.
dangerous fire.
It is in there.
It is in here.
It is. You know what it's
Good,
called, right?
Blaze.
It is now called
Man, all it
a,
takes is one match to light. one.
what is it called? Basically escape rooms. A puzzle room is what it's called, a puzzle operation. Anything that is deemed a puzzle room, puzzle operation requires an operating permit. So that includes all your escape rooms, that includes your corn mazes. Then we brought up the conversation of, well, what about ag? Because ag is fully exempt, and they're like, well, at that point, it's not ag, and we're like, okay. There's a lot.
when was the last time
All
a
right,
corn
we got
maze
corn
caught on
maze,
fire
that's
though?
good.
When's the last time a corn maze caught on fire?
Kids go in there and smoke.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I just never have heard of one catching on fire.
Well, if I ever did, it would.
Mike, you
you
mentioned
killed
it
a lot
a
of
page or
people.
2 back about notice from the fire department.
Yeah.
And after they've gone or a day later, you don't have access. could you be granted access if the town board passed an ordinance that authorized you to do that? Because that's been a dilemma with enforcement.
No, the Fourth Amendment section from the,
You can't be deputized somehow to,
even if I was, the Fourth Amendment would cover you. Fourth Amendment covers you from unlawful search or seizure, which is, that's a search.
but public safety is an issue.
Yep.
You can't eclipse the. It doesn't seem right.
I think it, everything.
If you're a code enforcement officer, but you can't.
No, and remember, has to deal with primarily your single family, your residential property.
And life safety.
If it's a commercial occupancy, we have other means, right? We have fire safety inspections where all we need to give you is 24 hours notice, which we've done that before. Hey, we're doing an impromptu fire safety inspection unless you let us in right now. And then we'll serve you saying you've got 24 hours to let us do a fire safety inspection, and we'll show up. And if you don't, then, all right, you're going to court next week. But yeah, there's nothing that they're leaving to do.
How about,
So a farmer has a diesel
Maybe we got one of
tank
the
on the back of his
thing
truck
all through.
to fuel up
how
tractors.
about Taylor?
You have to inspect that.
He's a firefighter. Could he be
The town.
Wait, I want to be there when you go to Charlie Miller's.
Trust me, the town of Canandaigua fueling station now requires an operating permit, the Cheshire fueling station down in Cheshire needs one. Jim's trucks that have fuel tanks on the back, supplementary, those
Right.
require operating permits. There's a lot in here.
Wow.
As soon as we switch them all over to vehicles, we'll be safe.
But there'll be batteries in there that they'll need a different permit in case those catch on fire.
Here's one indoor plant cultivation.
Yep.
Where carbon dioxide enriched environment is created.
Yep.
So the greenhouses that Danny's got down on
Yep.
Westlake Road have got to be
Inspected.
have a permit.
So they don't, no, and I know those personally from my previous life. Those have a fair flow where they don't like that.
How do you know? Without
Cause I
inspecting?
put the fire system in those. So. I've already looked at them.
Yeah, here it is, lithium ion batteries, number 36.
Yep,
The accumulation of more than 15 cubic feet
Yep.
yep,
of those batteries. Each of those 10 wheelers guns,
yep.
they can burn 15 cubic feet.
There's one that we have out, just for the betterment of the board, that we've asked New York State, they put in here personal mobility devices. Now require 1 hour firewall, sprinklers, special fire detection measures, all of this. Again, we were kind of teaching the state during this class too. You guys know the battery powered shopping carts, all the stores. Our interpretation from this class is that effective December 31st, 2025, they will all be illegal.
Walmart's in trouble.
Walmart, Wegmans, Tops, Target, everywhere, because where they charge,
Right.
they're charged right there in the required means of egress, which is clearly spelled out, it's not being allowed. So we have an email out to the state. I actually got yelled at by the state because apparently we inundated them with emails and questions. So
What's a plant extraction system?
that's a good question.
Probably
No candles.
marijuana related to make THC or something like that, all that.
Pump grinding, is that a?
Yeah, I don't. Hence are the same.
Sugar.
Yeah, that's your maple syrup farms. So they're allowed obviously to produce maple syrup, but then when they have sold pancake breakfast during production season, they get a permit for that. That's been in here for about 20 years.
Oh, obviously. Oh,
So. That's about it as far as these, there's some more.
So that's all?
So that's all. Like I said, there's 56 or 55 total. And then, of course, we put the staple in there that, you know, if the town code officer determines it to be hazardous, then you need an operating permit for whatever the town code officer deems it hazardous for. Yeah. We changed the duration of those operating permits. Previous law had it spelled out that they were due for 30 days, 60 days a year. We just changed that now to at the discretion of the code enforcement officer while we figure out this exact same process. On what those could be. Timeline wise. The only other change, it has to deal with 92-13 condition assessments of parking garages. We just removed any reference to specific sections or chapters, and we just left that blanketed as the property maintenance code. So. Yeah.
And what do we need to do with this?
This will go for public hearing. This month to set the public hearing in December. Adopted.
So this will get on the website somehow.
What you, the town board's gotta do is put out a help letter to hire 3 more
Just some
code
motion.
enforcement officers.
Issue permits.
Crazy.
Gonna take another look at the budget, John.
So. That was about it for 92. A lot of fun times with that in the code. Like I said, that the code is about 6,800 pages. Out of those 6,800 pages, about 5,000 of them have changes. Biggest thing to remember is the code that we're currently under. Although it's the 2020 code that was really working, like 2016, 2017. We're now jumping about 8 years up to this code was written last year, this year. So some pretty substantial changes across board.
What are the odds of the state taking to heart some of your feedback or objections or suggestions? They throw them out. Okay.
They'll save them for the next code, which is already being written right now. So.
Okay, so I have our next ordinance committee meeting as December 1st. Here at 9 o'clock. Is there anything that we can identify right now as being?
I don't know.
Worthy of conversation?
I don't know if this is the spot for it. I think I talked to John about it. I talked to Jared about it. There's a couple people that work for Highway that would like to retire when they're 62, but they don't because they want health insurance to 65. I would like to see the town, if we write an ordinance or something to that effect.
Yeah, it wouldn't be ordinance related.
No.
Just our employee
Employee
handbook and the union contract.
Yeah,
We've been having those discussions, Lindsay and I have been talking, and she actually, together. Proposal, that we just gotta look over and make some adjustments and, use like some sort of, graduated.
yeah, I mean, I'm talking about people that have 20 years plus. I mean, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about someone who's here for 5 years, then all of a
Yes.
sudden wants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the way we worked it was kind of, like, kind of a graduated thing where, 20 years, you get, we would offer, whatever this age range at whatever percent, full, you get health insurance, but you gotta pay the whole thing.
Right,
If you're 30+ years, you pay this much towards it. So we have a scale, graduated scale that where, that we just gotta, figure out the best place to have that discussion or.
I didn't know if it was here or not.
No, it wouldn't be ordinance, that would just be, said our employee handbook and then, working an MOU into the union contract.
Well, I remember it, Dan, I saw a reference to, town of Victor. Working on their budget, passing their budget. One of the line items in there was retiree healthcare, so they must have something
Oh, I'm
that they're
sure,
doing, so it
I'm
might
sure
be
they
a
do, yeah. There's a,
resource for Lindsay to check on.
yeah, there's a reserve, you can create a retirement reserve. A retirement healthcare reserve that exists with comptroller's office. So that would be the place where the money would go and draw from it, put into the budget each year, so.
There were 2 comments. One was that early town of Victor uses MVP for health insurance for employees. But for the retiree benefit was Excellus. So I don't know if there's a program offered. If there's some benefits or allowances that are different or.
Yeah, there's some more work we gotta do to look into before we, sit down with the full proposal and then Yeah, I mean, if we were to look at doing that in 2026, separate from the budget, obviously, because we don't have that ready to put into the budget. We would probably just create that reserve account, then fund it through, unassigned fund balance, if that's what you guys want to do. And then
Look at putting
and
the
then
budget in
amend
27.
the budget
Yeah,
as needed. We'll wait till 2027, so.
That list of code changes that staff has, we're up to 40 something. So if it's okay with this committee, I would propose that we start working on those minor changes. And to be brutally honest, hit you guys with about 10 a meeting. And get those rolling.
Can you send us a list of those?
Sure. It's a lot of chicken scratch, but yes.
but they have to be on the agenda anyway. If we bring from the town board, it would have to be on a published agenda
Yeah, so I think what John's saying is before we redline
before.
stuff,
Okay,
just to outline it all. It's a lot of minor changes, but there are some more substantial ones like shoreline guidelines, bridgeline guidelines that need to go before this group before we do a red line, saying that site plan reviews that we talked about come around. But yeah, we got a giant list. So
Maybe you should look at the ones that have the greatest impact on you guys that, I mean, with all these additional inspections, your time is gonna be precious.
Yeah, those are the guys for the next few months, so.
Be living in the car.
Yeah, so I mean, we've done 80 new construction jobs this year so far. And we're looking at least another 30 before the end of the year.
New projects, you're saying?
Brand new builds, brand new structures.
Trying to beat this January 1st deadline.
Yeah, so like if you look at our permit numbers are down by about 100. The main driver for that is we did about 200 what I'll call hailstorm repair permits last year with the roofs. But last year, in the whole year alone, we only did 29 new structures. This
You
year,
did 80.
we're 80 something. And that doesn't count the rest that I'm gonna get in the next month to be the new code set.
This doesn't account for multi-family, multi-dwelling subdivision?
It does, but one permit, so like Creekview, for example, is one permit for 7 unit building. So, and those, I mean.
So is there any way for you to tell us, as we sit here, how many dwelling units
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
we
we've got-
built last year versus this year?
Yeah, we'll have all that at the end of the year.
Okay.
We've got that from the pro housing stuff.
Do you think we built more dwelling units this year than last year?
Oh, yeah, substantial. Now, we've built more. Have we brought in more? I don't know. We'll find that out.
When you say brought in more, what do you mean?
Brought in more as in vacant land that did not have a housing dwelling unit on it. Yeah. Having one more. Right, so when we look at it from the pro housing side, we have what we call new builds, which includes tear down, rebuild, stuff like that. But then pro housing, we only look at net increase and decrease. So we'll have firm numbers when it comes to that program, and you've got to resubmit every year. It's just going through and figuring it out. Like Pierceboro, all of those will be permitted by the end of the year. For the remainder of the projects.
Tore down the hill, the cottage.
There's a lot. So.
That's,
I'm sure it's gonna.
See all the
flip
new,
neighbors on both sides.
Construction out at County Road 10. All outfitted with solar panels. And the rest.
Or under new code. Anything that's considered commercial
Anything that can
has to
drive
have
up the
solar.
cost.
Has to have on-site renewable energy, doesn't have to have solar, on-site renewable. Now, that's a really good program they're doing actually at Creekview. They're producing the solar, it doesn't go into the buildings, it's sold immediately to the grid, but it offsets the electrical bills for the tenants. So it's pretty good.
okay, anything else we need to talk about this morning? Call it a day.
Move adjourn.
Amen.
Amen.
Going home,
You can.
my day off today. Today and Friday. Forgot I had this meeting, so.